Hi everyone, hope you are doing good. My name is Saurabh Bharti, Microsoft Dynamics 365 professional. Welcome to the next video on my YouTube channel, and this is the platform where I come and share my knowledge and experience with you all. So today's video is the next part in the Inventory Valuation Series, which we are talking where we have spoken about different valuation methods, how it works, and the key things which we need to understand. Now today's video is about a very critical report from the inventory perspective, which is your inventory value report. Now what is inventory value report, how it can be generated, how it can help you, that's what we are going to talk about in this particular video. If you look at every module in finance and operation, right, every module has got a very key or the important reports, right? For example, if you talk about finance, you have got the trial balance, voucher transactions, financial reports, and similarly in accounts payable, receivable, you might have easing report, balance report, and so on. Similarly, for the inventory, there is one critical report. One of the critical report is the inventory value report. So if you are working as a supply chain consultant, or if you're working in the area of inventory valuation, it is very important that you understand this particular report, how it can be used, and how this report can help you. So that's what we are going to talk about in today's video. So let's move to the next slide. These are the few key things about the inventory value report. So helps you to generate the inventory report based on different attributes like by item group, site, warehouse. Helps you to view both the quantity and the value of the inventory in the same reports. Helps you to generate for transaction or the summary level. If you want to see for a product, or as on today, your quantity and what is the value, or you want to see the breakup of that, so it allows you to view that. Helps you to generate either based on the posting date or the creation date. So for example, I might create an inventory transaction today, which is the today's date, but my posting date, I can put it past or the future, right? So it helps you to generate the report based on any of these two dates. Helps you to do the reconciliation between inventory to the ledger in the finance, which is a very critical things. We'll talk about that, how you can do the reconciliation, how you can find the deviation. But in that whole reconciliation exercise, this particular report plays a very important role. Okay, and also helps you to view the transaction type, like whether it's a sales order transaction, purchase order, product receipt, journals or counting journal, or it is a production transaction, what type of transaction it is in the inventory, right? So that also it gives you, and the reference number, that okay, if it is a sales order, then which sales order, which purchase order, and so on, right? So these are the few key scenarios, or the you can say the attribute of this particular report, and you can utilize and generate. Now, very key thing about this report is this is not a fixed report which Microsoft has given it to you, and then you can just go and click and run this. Now, this report you can configure as per your requirement, that what you want to view in the column and the rows, and at what level you want to see. Like, do you want to see at a summary level, or at a transaction level? Do you want to see that by the site, warehouse, or do you want to see the item group? So how do you want to view this report? So you have got the flexibility to define your own view. Now that is created using the inventory value report ID, and that's what we are going to see today. How we create this ID, what are the attributes it has, and then based on that we will generate and see that how this is going to generate the data for me. Okay, so let's move on and let's see the demo in Microsoft Dynamics 365, how it works. So now let's go and see that how this report can be generated. First, where do you navigate? So for that, you can go to the cost management, or you can go to the inventory management, and there you have got inquiries and report section. And recently, Microsoft has improved the way it should be generated. Earlier, it used to generate into an Excel file or the SSRS report. But that due to, like, we know that inventory transaction can have a huge data volume, the transaction volume. So they have created something called as report storage. And the good part about this report storage is that you can even have the data entity for this to export this particular report. So now if we are going to talk about, so aging report is there, we will talk about the aging report in some other video, but let's talk about the value storage report here. Now if you see this storage report here, if you have to run, so every time when you want to run this report, you need to click on new, and then you have an option of providing the information. But important thing is this ID selection, which I was explaining, that what is your objective, at what level you want to see this report, what filters you want to apply, right? So this is very important. So let's right click and view detail on this ID, and let's see that how this ID can be created first. So first thing is that how do you create the ID? So let's say I will show you the two types of ID creation. One is for a transaction level and one is for the summary level, right? So let's say we create our new ID. So let's say the ID name, we can give it, let's say 50, and then we can say transaction level, right? So we can define this, and then we can click on the save. Now once we click, it has got the three sections here. One is the general section, then you have got the columns, and then you have got the rows, right? Now you can define that you want to create this report based on what date range. When you are generating, which date range you will be defining. Either you will be defining the transaction posting date range, or you are defining the transaction creation date. So let's say we want to do it based on the posting date. Now you can select that which dimension set you want to consider. So your inventory transactions are also going to post with the different financial dimensions. So I can just say that I want to check it at a main account level. I don't want to consider any financial dimension for now. Once I define this, I can create the columns for me. Now in the columns, first thing is that what type of inventory transaction I would like to see. So to see my core inventory transaction, I can enable this inventory options. But let's say in a different scenario, you might want to see a report from the production process or the manufacturing process, where you know that work in progress is getting posted, deferred COGS is getting posted, COGS is getting posted, right? So now for those specific transaction types, right, you can enable the WIP, deferred COGS and COGS as well. But let's say if you are not following the manufacturing process, you do not have the manufacturing process, then you can just click on the inventory and just see the pure inventory transaction in your report. Okay, so the first thing is that what financial position you want to see it. Then on the right hand side, if you see, there is a grid where you have all the inventory dimensions which are possible, and then you have a view and the total column, which means what are the dimensions you would like to see in the columns. So you enable that. So let's say I want to see site, and I can enable the site, and then I can enable the warehouse. So I want to view these two things, right? So I want to see them as a column. But do I want to also see, like once the view is finished, do I want to see the total by every site and every warehouse? If I want, I can just click on total here, right? If I don't want, then I keep it disabled here. And then similarly, if I want to look at, like, I want to see the inventory location, batch number, serial number, I can enable each and every attribute as a column. So I can define literally that what columns I would like to see in my report. So do I want to see all the inventory attributes? Do I want to see the inventory, cost of goods sold, WIP and everything? So I can literally define each and every column which I would like to see. But the only thing which you need to keep in mind is, like, what is your requirement, what process you are following. If you are not following the manufacturing process, just enable this. And if you just can see the site and warehouse level, it is good to define only that requirement, right? Now next thing is the resource ID and the resource group. Now you might say that why it is resource ID and the resource group, why it is not item or item group. Now you know that inventory transactions are not only created using the product. Now resource here is that you in the resource, when we say it can be the the product or the item, it can be your resource. And also you can consider in the manufacturing process you have the route posting and other things. So there also you define the different types of resource like machines and everything. So this report can help you in generating the transactions for such inventory transaction or the manufacturing transaction as well. So you can enable this. So let's say we are purely talking about the product. So I can say resource ID will be my product ID. So do I want to see the view of the column in in the report? So I enable this. Do I want to see also the total of that particular item? So let's say if I have item which has 20 transaction, I will see all the 20 rows. Do I want to see the total in the end for that thing? If I want, I can click in total yes. If not, then I can keep it no. And similarly, the item group I can just enable. My suggestion always is to keep this report as light as possible, because the more things you add here, it is going to generate more data volume, and also the analysis which you require, just select those things. Okay, once this is done, then you have an option that you can summarize your. So now you know that inventory transaction has got two types of transaction. One is the physical inventory and the financial inventory. If you have not understood what is the difference, please go watch, I think, the first video in this particular series, and you will understand what is physical and financial. So do you want to see the breakup of physical, financial and the total separately? So if you want to see all three differently, you keep it disabled, but if you want to summarize, you can just enable this. Then it also gives you the option that include not posted to ledger. So if there are transactions which have not been posted to the ledger, do you want to include them? So you can say yes or no. Do you want to calculate the average unit price? Now this depends literally on your valuation method which you are following. So if you are following different valuation methods, the standard cost and all, if it is weighted average and this applicable for you, then you need to take a decision based on that. Do you want to print the total quantity and value in the end? Yes, we can print it. So I will enable this for here. Okay, so now I have created this. So I have done with I have done with my column. Now let's define the rows. So in the rows, I want to print the material which is my product. Now apart from that, as I said, the resources can be other than material also. So do I want to print the labor, indirect costs and other things? I can enable them, but provided that if it is, let's say, manufacturing process or manufacturing transactions, I would like to see. If I'm not having that manufacturing transaction and other activity, and if this report is purely focused on the material transaction, I'll keep them disabled here. Then I have got the option that I want to run this report at a total level or the transaction level. So total level is that if I have a product, if it has 20 transactions, then it will just summarize everything and give me total quantity and the value for that. Okay, so that's total. But if I click on the transactions here, then I will have an option, and it gives me the warning that you are selecting the transaction. Be careful when you are generating a report at transaction level, because it can generate a huge volume. So you need to think about this also. And then do you want to include the beginning balance when you are having the transaction section defined here? So beginning balance, let's say if you define the date range, let's say 1st January to 31st January, do you want to include the closing balance of December as well when you are generating that report? Okay, so you define this. So this is your transaction level. Let's say now I want to generate similar report, but I just want to have it at a total level, right? So what I can do is that I can click on new and then create, or I can just copy this particular report and give the name as 60, let's say, and this is my total level, let's say. Okay, so I click OK. The only change which I'm going to do here is that I'm going to change it to total. And if you see in the total case, I cannot have the beginning balance enabled here, because at total it is always as on today, including your closing balance and everything. So now once this is done, you are ready with your report generation process. So for this report generation, it is very important that you understand that how do you create your IDs, and it is up to you, like you want to create as many IDs you want to create. Okay, now let's go back and let's generate, let's say that it is a transaction level report. Okay, and then I can select the ID which I want to select. So let's say 50 is my transaction level, and then I can use the date interval that for which date I want to generate. So let's say I will select January 1st, and I will select a 2017. Okay, and then I will select something on the January only, because I want to generate for a short period of time. So let's say 5 days, and I will select the 2017 only, because that is where I have the demo data. Otherwise I need to create the data to show you all these things. This is to define my parameters. Now apart from this, the key important thing here is that I need to also, and I have an option of defining the filters. So I can utilize this filter to generate my report very efficiently. Now what are the filters I can apply, how I can apply? So let's say I have a lot of filters here available. Resource means like if I want to generate this for a specific product. Reference is, let's say I just want to look at my transaction report for the sales order transactions. I can select that, or I want to see the purchase order only, or the inventory adjustment. So I have got the option that which reference or which filter I want to apply. If I want to generate for only for a specific item group, or a specific reference, or any site or warehouse, right? Let's say I want to just generate the report for site 1. Right, so I can select all these things, and this can help you literally in generating your report or analyzing your data for the inventory very efficiently. You can generate this report in a very much like multiple combinations to view your inventory transactions for different transaction type, site, warehouse, attributes, product group, and everything. Okay, so now I will select this, and then I will click on OK. Once I do this, this report gets generated in a batch process always. So I will be just generating this, and this is saying like from and to date is at least 2 calendar years prior to this session. The length, or it will take a longer report you want to generate. So let's say if I want to say yes, so let's say like if it generates, so this is going to run in the background and it is going to generate the data. But parallelly, let's also generate at a total level the other one which we have generated. So I will select the other total level thing, and I'm gonna keep let's say this time I will take a 1 month thing, and I'm keeping the site as a one of the filter here, and I'm going to generate this. So again, it is giving me some warning. So this is going to run in the background, and we will wait for this to generate the data. Now, if I refresh the page, my both the reports has been executed, and I have this. Now, one important thing, it also shows you that when you generated this report, which parameter you selected and at what level you generated this. So this is a very good information. So at any point of time, if we are analyzing the transaction, we can understand that how I generated this particular report. Now, how do I see the data? I can click on the view details here, and I can see this. So now if you see, I have selected this information based on my transactions. So it is giving me all the inventory transactions. Now it has included the beginning balance also. So let's focus on one of the product. Like let's say if I want to just use this resource ID D001, I can filter. Also I can just export this into one. So I think it doesn't have any transaction in that particular period. It just have a beginning balance. So it is just showing me that, okay, this is the inventory quantity. Now if you remember, we have financial, physical, quantity column selection, so we have all these things, and it is showing me 31 is your beginning balance with this value, 20 is your I think this is physical quantity, and this is this, and net quantity is your 11 with this particular value. And similarly, let me I think put a filter, see like if I have got the transaction for let's say this particular material. Let's try one more product, if I can have transaction and beginning balance both. Okay, so this also, I think the date range which is selected has this. So but the overall point here is to show you that it gives you everything. So now if you see, it has a resource type material, it is giving you the item group, then item, site, warehouse, transaction time, posting date, voucher and number. It is not showing up because we do not have the transaction. The beginning balance will not have. Then the physical financial quantity value, physical quantity value, total quantity, and the value. Now sometimes what you will also see that you don't have the warehouse column appearing. Then now this depends based on if you have defined the storage dimension at a warehouse level, and also you have enabled the financial inventory for your warehouse, then only this column will show you the value. Apart from this, my another suggestion is that many times what you can do is that you can have the analysis on the screen itself. So you can have, let's say I want to see the group by column, so I can just group by my site. So there are 32 records I am having for this particular site, or I can do, let's say, group by the group by the item group, so I can automatically see that okay, for this item group what are the transactions and so on. So you need not to export this into Excel and do a lot of pivot and things. A quick analysis can be done on the screen itself. Okay, now let's go back and see the last thing, which is your total level. So if I click on the view detail after this, so if you see, it is showing me the ending balance of everything. So I know it is a summary report, we can say, where for every product I know what's my total closing balance is, and that has been appearing here. Okay, and again this has the different same sort of columns which we have it. Now if I want to see the total of let's say this is my, let's say, inventory quantity. So if I want to see the total of this, so I can say the view column total and sum. So I know that total quantity I have this, and the value against this is, if I click on this, and I can say the value of this is this. Now if I want to see this totals and the sum group by the product group, right? So I can do this also for me to, so I know that for the audio group I have 779 quantity, and this is a value, and for this particular audio RM I have a different 7690, and this is my value. So a lot of things you can do using combining all the functionalities like a personalization and inventory value report and things. And of course you can export all this data into Excel spreadsheet also, so that you can analyze. And you also have got the quick tip about that is that you have got the data entity for this, using which you can export this data. And let's say you are using the data lake or BYOD or anything, you can push this inventory value report data to that, and you can do the analysis using your Power BI and other tool if you are using, right? So that's it for this particular video. Hope this helps you to understand this inventory value report, and it is very important for us if we are working on the inventory valuation or transaction that we understand this report. How do we generate, in which combination we can generate this. So hope this helps you to understand this particular report. And that's it for this video, and we are going to see we are going to meet in the next one, and thank you.